Hello everyone, Alba again from Asset Education. This is the second of 3 Excel tutorial videos for AFM 121. This video is going to be covering future value problems. So let's get started. Question 1. What is the future value in the final time period? So what it's asking us for is what all these cash flows summed up are worth in the final time period. So to calculate future value, plug in the future value formula. So equals our cash flow times, for present value is divided. Now since we're looking at for future value, it's multiplied. 1 plus our interest rate, freeze the interest rate, to the power of, we're not going to use 2 because that would mean it's only compounding for 2 periods, but we know that it has up until the 21st year, so we know that it's going to be compounding for 19 periods. I'm not going to type in 19 since that means we can't drag the formula over because in the 5th year it won't be compounding for 19 periods. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to use the value of the last year, freeze that, subtract what our current year is, which effectively gives us 19 for this, and then the similar compounding period for the rest of the years. Number's too big, so then we copy that into the rest of the future value row. Now it's asking us for the sum of the future values, so equals sum, everything here. I'm holding down Control, Shift, right arrow key, Enter. Cool. So now we have our sum. We're done with this question. Moving on. Question 3. Solve for the rate. So I have my future value row, I have my sum, but I don't have the interest rate. But in order to even set up an equation, I'm going to need an interest rate, so I'm just going to use a random one to set up the equation. So future value is equal to, again, cash flow multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate lock in the interest rate, to the power of the final year, lock in the final year, subtract what the current year is, copy that into the boxes. Cool, and then sum it up, equals sum. Right, but as we can see, we get that our sum is about 51,000 actually, but it should be 75,000. So how are we going to change that? We're going to go Data, What If Analysis, Goal Seek. We're going to change our sum number to the value 75,000, which is what it should be, by changing the cell with the random interest rate that we put in earlier. Okay, cool. We get about 18.75% interest rate, which is correct. Awesome. Moving on. Question 4. What we're looking at here is we notice that we have a missing cash flow in time 3. So we're going to solve for this cash flow. First of all, what are our other future values? So we go cash flow multiplied by 1 plus our interest rate, lock in the interest rate, to the power of our final year, lock in the final year, minus the current year. Cool. Copy that, including year 3s, because we need this formula to work out if we want to goal seek. Sum up what these future values are, so sum of the future values. Cool. Now we're going to take the present value of the future values. So, just going to do what we did in the earlier video. Take that sum, divide it by 1 plus the interest rate. Something to note here is that if you're given a discount rate, the discount rate is what you use when you're present valuing it. The interest rate is what you use to find the future values, but if you want to go back in time and find the price, and you have a second rate here saying it's the discount rate, that's what you use to present value. But since we only have one, it's the same one for both. and we're going to do this to the power of our final year. Cool. So we have 225,000 roughly, but we should have 3,000. So that difference will be made up with our third year cash flow. So we go data, what if analysis, goal seek, set cell. Actually, I'm going to be changing this cell, the present value, to what it should be, 300,000, by changing this cell. And this will work because all our formulas are set up. So this cell depends on this cell depends on this cell, and this cell depends on this cell. If you didn't set up your formulas correctly, goal seek won't work. Okay. Cool. And we get that this is our cash flow. This is the cash flow that's missing in order to obtain the 300,000 number. Awesome. Last question. This one's a little different. So we're being asked to solve for what the time is. So this is our future value in year 75. We have a cash flow right here, but we don't know what year it's from. So a quick way to solve this problem is just to equals the future value divided by 1 plus the interest rate to the power of, here, I forgot to set up the numbers, so I'm just going to use 2 random boxes. I'll fill in the boxes after. Cool. So this one, the first box that we're going to be using, see the purple box, the subtraction? You may have guessed it's the number of the final value year, so 75. I'm just going to plug in a random value here, so 60. So as you can see, since 60 is not, we know that 60 isn't the cash flow because these two numbers don't match up. So what we're going to do is we're going to goal seek this. Goal seek, set the cell to what the value you want, so 281,459.31 by changing the 60 cell. Right, so we get that the period of the cash flow is the 55, which is correct. So why did this work? I'm going to show you the longer way to do it. So I've set up all these different cash flows, and basically this is a guess and test kind of way if you're really pressed and you don't know the formula. So I go all the way to the end, 75. This is what our cash flow is supposed to be. So for year 74, I'm going to take that year divided by 1 plus what my interest rate was. Freeze my interest rate. Enter. And why did I do that? So this number times 1 plus the interest rate gives you this number. To go from the value in 74 to the value in 75. So to go from the value in 75 to the value of 74, I just reverse the process. I'm going to copy that formula into the rest of all the years that I'm working with. And to know that my answer is correct, I'm going to go to year 55, or sorry, period 55, and see that this value matches up with the value I was looking for, which matches up with the value I was goal seeking. Awesome. So that concludes all these questions. To review, we've looked at solving for the future value in the final time period by adding them all up. We looked at solving for an interest rate that we didn't know. Looked at solving for a missing cash flow. We've looked at solving for a time period. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you guys in the next video on bonds.